Well, welcome to this final installment of Pocket Change. And this is going to be the last one about my model. And I'm going to be moving on to different things, different aspects of change management and what we need to look at. And I think the videos are going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit punchier. But this is the last one. We've gone through a lot of stuff. We've gone through getting your need and vision. You know, what are we gonna do out there, and putting a guiding coalition together to ensure that we get there. And you know, this can be pretty big, and it can be pretty inclusive, and probably should be. We need to make a plan, but we only need to do that after we've looked at the people dynamics. How are people going to react, and what's going on, what's come before, and the business dynamics. You know, how is the business going to react to this? How will this affect our business proposition, for example? How will it affect our funding? All kinds of stuff that you really need to put into your change plan. And then once you've got it, you need to go out and communicate it. And that needs to be a structured thing. It can't be given over to the communications department. You need to do it, you and your guiding coalition and your management team. And then we need to look again at those people dynamics. You know, that's the built-in loop. That's such a criticism of other models. Get the people back into giving you information about how it's going, understand where they are, and sort of simultaneous with that, build in organizational learning. You know, how are we moving along, and how are we going to help each other learn to deal with the things that this change has brought up. And here at the end, as we want to achieve that need, that vision that we put out in the beginning, I'm going to look at active convergence and anchoring, and a little bit at remeasuring. Now, active convergence and anchoring is what I call it. But the giants upon whose shoulders I have stood to make this model, they called it some rather different things. So Kurt Lewin from the 1940s, he had unfreeze, move, and refreeze. So for Kurt Lewin, this was the refreezing aspect. If we look at Rosbeth Moss Cantor, she was looking at this final phase as reinforcing and institutional change. And that's probably pretty good. She went on to say it sort of in the last phase of her model. You should be doing communication and that kind of thing, and that's always going to be good. Absolutely. John Kotter, so the great John Kotter, he said, this is the time to solidify the change, a little bit like refreezing, and then looking for more change. So what things still need to be done, and again, anchoring. That's where I got my word anchoring and institutionalizing, putting these things into policies and procedures and this sort of thing. Peter Senge of the Learning Organization, so this is early 90s, and I wish his stuff was used a little broader. We keep reinventing the wheel, and the wheel doesn't seem to get a whole lot better. But anyway, Peter Senge from the early 1990s in the Learning Organization, and he talked about redesigning and rethinking in this phase. So he wasn't letting any grass grow under his feet for this phase. And I've learned from them, and so I'm talking about active anchoring and then remeasurement. So we want to converge on one point. We're pulling all the strings together here at the end, and then we're going to remeasure. Yeah. So if you try being on a weight loss program and you weigh 250 pounds and at the beginning, and then you weigh yourself at the end. We're going to remeasure, have we met our weight goals in this case? And so that's what we're really going to focus on here. I do a little exercise with my students sometimes in MBA, and I take a pen or a little marker, and I put the marker on the desk in front of them, and I stand just far enough away, and I say, I'll bet I can grab that before you do. And you see they light up and they get a smile and they look at it and they're like, ooh, and they're already calculating, I could just grab it like this, but he's like a meter away and he must be really fast if he can get it. And so I say, well, I'll bet I can get it before you do. And then have somebody count 1, 2, 3. And then of course I can't get it before they can. And they grab this pen and they have a big smile and they're triumphant, And I've never had anyone say, what a dumb exercise, everybody's like, hey, I can get it. And this says something about people, that when you put a goal in front of people, sometimes even a really dumb goal, it switches them on. They want to go get it. Huh? Now, of course, in a change, we're doing that over time. So it's not just one little exercise that takes a minute and a half to do. It may take a year and a half, and people get distracted and they get bogged down with other things. And so one of the things I was proud of my company back in 2006 to about 2009, we did a worldwide triple merger. And one of the things that we did was we calculated, with the help of McKinsey, what are the synergies going to be? How much we're going to save here? How what is this merger going to bring us? We had a huge list. And as I recall, maybe not in every group management team meeting, but the ones I kind of remember, we were looking back at that. So, hey, guys, we're merged now. Are we getting those synergies? Are we getting the benefits of the merger out as we had predicted? And what gets measured gets done. I'll say that again. What gets measured gets done. And so that's really an important thing here. So I think it's important to leave you here with maybe a couple things from John Cotter, who said, when you get to the end here, make sure that this next generation of managers is going to personify the new values, the new direction. And I think we see this in society today. We have a society where the current generation has not taken on the solid values that have been pushed forward for many centuries. And I'm talking here about Judeo-Christian and Enlightenment values. And we're always a little wobbly on them, but these values have been a bit thrown overboard. It's a kind of a King Lear moment. And King Lear was quite a tragedy, but it didn't have to be. It was based on the very poor choices of some badly parented daughters, and a fickle king. And I think we're seeing that now. So the example that leaders are supposed to set here can't really be overstated. I mean, if you're not doing that, then this really is all for naught. I think the second thing is that Cotter said was people need to be shown again how these new values, new processes, new procedures, new strategy, new products, new product markets, whatever it is that you've gone through in this change, are really a benefit to how people are working. That there's a brighter future out there, that we have been making the right moves all along. Now, of course, you don't want to lie about this. If there's a mistake and we need to correct things, and then let's do that. But pointing out to people who are, they're busy with their lives, they're busy with getting on with things, And they can lose focus more than, let's say, if your management team. Help them to focus out there on the future and show them again the benefits of doing what it is that we've been doing all these months and maybe years. And I think finally, if we can go back to the people dynamics, people might be a bit tired. They may need to have a bit of a celebration. Yeah. This is an important part of organizational life, that we celebrate the things that we've done well, the milestones that we've reached. And if you haven't been keeping track of goals and milestones and the need and the vision along the way, well, then it'll all just blend into one more day of going and going and going. And why are we doing this again? So, the old saying that if you don't really know your destination, any road will do. Pick the right road for your destination. Go get it. Explain to people why it's being good, and then demonstrate the values and the leadership that is commensurate with that kind of new situation in your company. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and Pocket Change will continue, but it won't be on my model anymore, although I am happy to answer any questions you have about it. And I think probably I should just celebrate the end of discussing my model with you. It's just tea.